Why does Goldie Roger want to defeat Xebec if what he wants is to also defeat Imusama? Currently, in the happening Elbaf arc, eh? It is shown the flashback on how this Xebec became a legendary character. From his beginning where he tried to infiltrate Mary Joyce, where he talked face-to-face with this evasive Imusama, until his fight with the king of Elbaf, which is King Harald, and up to the moment he formed his pirate crew, the Rocks Pirates, where we know that the members of this group are the strongest in their era. But during this era, it's not just the Rocks Pirates that are the strongest. Instead, there is still one pirate who can match the strength of this Xebec, and this is Goldie Roger. Because of the feats shown by Xebec during some chapters of his flashback, many say that it is certain that Xebec is stronger than Roger. It's as if Roger is becoming overrated in the eyes of fans, because of what Xebec showed. But if I were to be asked, Roger has proven that he is indeed one of the strongest. Because if you think about it, guys, these members of the Rocks Pirates at the time, when they were fighting for their lives, or they were on the brink of death, who is the person they remember? This is Roger. During the Marineford War, the time before Whitebeard died, he mentioned to Blackbeard that he was not the one Roger was waiting for. Plus, here we also saw the flashback where Roger went to him before he was executed. Kaido is the same. In their last exchange of attacks with Luffy, he suddenly remembered, Roger, Luffy should just make Roger. An example that even without devil fruit powers, and he only uses haki to steal, he can still conquer the world. For Big Mom's part, after he was attacked by Eustace Kid and Trafalgar Law, instead of his former captain Xebec, it is Roger who he suddenly remembered. Big Mom is wondering about Roger's action of pursuing floating people. He blames it because of the new era of young pirates. And lastly, this is Shiki. We all know how much Golden Lion. Shiki was affected when he found out that Roger would be executed. In his anger, he alone attacked Marineford, where his fate ended. There is only one implied action of the members of the Rocks Pirates towards Roger. Back to the topic. If you think about it, based on Xebec's current flashback, what is his goal? Isn't it to bring down Imu and the world government? Yes, on paper, that's a good thing, since this is also the obvious goal of the Straw Hat Pirates at the end of the story of One Piece. Luffy will defeat Imu and the world government. But what is the difference between Luffy and Xebec's goals? Luffy plans to bring down the world government to free people from the greed of the world government, such as their torture of various creatures by turning them here as slaves and also by their corruption in various countries. This is Luffy's goal, which is why he wants to bring down the world government, to have freedom for all people. On the other hand, Xebec, although they have similar goals to Luffy's, which is to also defeat the world government, has different intentions. If Luffy really wants freedom for the people, that's why he wants to overthrow the world government. But Xebec is different. He wants to defeat Imu once and for all, so that he can take his place and rule the world.
Basically, Xebec just wants to replace the current demon that is ruling, and maybe this is what his son Blackbeard is planning now. He also plans to overthrow the world government, which is already mentioned by Katarina Devon. Blackbeard wants to rule for a long time so that he will make all creatures in the world suffer, and this is what Luffy plans to prevent from happening. Yes, they are. Similar to Blackbeard's aim of dethroning Imsama, but with a different motive, likely reflecting Roger's own intentions. One possible reason he prevented Xebec from assaulting Mary Joa is because he knows that Xebec can't handle this Imu. People in the world will feel sorry if he tries to act at an untimely time. Apparently what Roger has in mind is that if Xebec attacks this Mary Joa, to see if he can do it. Because if Xebec can't defeat him, then surely he can't defeat the final boss Imsama either. So the reference to why I said Roger knew that it wasn't the right time for Xebec
to attack Imu in their era is what he mentioned in chapter 966. If you remember the scene where Roger was about to borrow Odin from Whitebeard, he mentioned that 13 years ago he went to the far island in the New World, Lodestar, and that's where he learned that it wasn't the last island, since that's not what the log pose was pointing to. If this scene was 26 years ago and Roger learned about the poneglyphs 13 years ago, then the timeline Roger was referring to was 39 years ago, a year before his confrontation with Xebec in God Valley. That means Roger had an idea during the God Valley incident about what the implications might be for his fight with Imsama. Wasn't it 26 years ago that Odin joined the Roger Pirates? How did Roger read the poneglyphs if what you're saying is true? Well, it's based on Silver's Rayleigh in Chapter 507. They can't really read poneglyphs because of the voice of all things, so Roger can understand what a poneglyph contains, meaning it's possible that Roger found out the information about Imsama this way. Anyway, I know what's running through your mind. The question is, when will Loki's flashback about the Rock's pirates end?
Just for comparison, during the Wano arc, where Kazuki Oden had a flashback that covered the introduction of the Roger Pirates, it lasted 14 chapters from chapter 959 up to chapter 972. So I'm saying that Loki's flashback will last 14 chapters. Currently, there are 5 chapters in this flashback. I think based on the pacing of this flashback, we could get 3 to 5 more chapters.
Since this flashback will probably end 14 years ago because this is the year when King Harald died, and this is also the point why this flashback started. Harudin asked Loki what really happened to their father. So currently, we are only 44 years ago. Anyway, that's our topic for today. I hope you enjoyed our analysis of the 2 strongest characters in One Piece history. So that's it. Peace out.